Story 1. I feel people are becoming selfish and do whatever they want without thinking of the consequences or how it could affect their partner. In turn, others have stopped dealing with such behavior and call it quits. Story 2. We are slowly losing the ability to communicate in person rather than digitally from a distance. For that reason, I would say it is absolutely getting harder. Story 3. This is purely my take from my experience of online dating. Too many options mean you will never make a decision or be happy with the matches you have. You will always be thinking the grass is greener or what if I swipe a few more times. I think people have shorter attention spans now, so unless you really hit it off in the first hours or days, it will go nowhere. It is the norm to just ghost people now rather than deal with the consequences. I will admit, after experiencing it time and time again for the last 6 months, I am starting to do the same. I think it is time to ditch online and try my luck elsewhere. Except I never see people out and about anymore either, so it feels truly terrible right now. Story 4. People are looking for something that makes them feel good right away. Almost no one wants to take the time to build a relationship with real foundations and a deep connection. Most people want to have sex and fool around, and they move on to the next one once they find they have nothing in common with the person they are dating or once they find out something they do not like about the other. Story 5. In real life, third spaces are disappearing. Online, dating applications have been losing revenue for years and have been hiding and limiting profiles to encourage users to pay. Story 6. I am a believer that over 98% of people in this world have attachment wounds. As you get older and experience more relationships, people either learn and heal their relational wounds through grief and integration, or continue avoiding grief and integration and keep stacking trauma. Dating. Applications have made dating and relational experiences much more convenient and accessible. Now, people are traumatizing each other repeatedly at a higher pace than before and never heal. In my opinion, there is truth to the idea that all the good ones are already taken as you get older. Couples who met and stayed together when they were younger had the opportunity to figure it out when they were less traumatized, so the triggers were not as loud. They were able to rewire subconscious beliefs about love while they were still developing, versus much later when these beliefs become more solidified. I am 32 now, and I am slowly realizing the truth about my patterns and relationships. It has been painful but eye-opening. I will never be the same, and that brings me much more peace but also sadness. That is grief, being able to process and accept multiple contradicting truths all at once. Story 7. I think it depends on your personal goals in dating. If you are trying to have casual encounters with no real connection, dating applications have made finding partners much easier. If you are looking for a life partner, I think this is harder. People used to meet while doing activities they had in common. Maybe at a bar where you enjoy socializing and drinking. Maybe at a dance club where you like dancing and music. Maybe at a sport like a climbing gym. It seems more common now for people to match online based on appearance, with little concern for shared interests. Story 8. Because people do not go outside anymore, they stay inside and interact with themselves. Yes, it is getting harder and harder every day to date. Story 9. On dating apps, it seems like it has changed, at least from my experience, though maybe it's just because I've gotten older. I am in my mid-30s now, and it was much easier to get dates in my mid to late 20s. I think a lot of it is that flakiness has become the norm on the apps. There are always many more people to go out with, so it is very easy not to give any one person much of a chance if the first date is not perfect. It has also become harder to meet people in the world, as things have become more antisocial. Story 10. Recently divorced. Last single almost a decade ago. I am 36 now. I guess I will find out soon enough. At least I did not get fat or bald, though. Story 11. We have shifted away from a circular economy, where you buy products and materials to use for as long as possible through strategies like durability, reuse, repurposing, and repair, towards a more linear and disposable economy, where you discard an item once it breaks or no longer interests you. Relationships have followed the same pattern. If it becomes difficult or you grow bored, you simply move on. Divorce and abortion have become less solutions to extreme problems and more easy ways to deal with irritations you do not want to be bothered with. We live in a disposable world. Relationships have become part of that. Story 12. Mental health is becoming difficult to manage. I am mentally ill and really struggle with relationships and intimacy. Story 13. Because nobody wants to get hurt, we put up a barrier. Nobody likes to admit their past traumas and work on them. Story 14. The last girl I was seeing was polyamorous, and she would say she was already with the love of her life before being intimate with me. That just seems so nonsensical to me. Story 15. Online dating is a major challenge. There is a selection of hundreds rather than just a few people showing interest at a bar, providing much more choice. Story 16. I'm finding that everyone is so busy trying to stay afloat in this economy that pursuing a long-term relationship is not feasible because there is no stability elsewhere. Remember when people said, just focus on yourself and pursue relationships when you are settled or stable? I think those same people just wanted workers who do not have family lives. Story 17. Yes, dating is one of the few things where you can do everything right, make no mistakes, and still end up failing. Unclear hints, games, entitlement, and having to guess if your date is genuine or not. Love should not be difficult. Relationships should not be difficult. But for some reason, we decided it should be. Story 18. Yes, it is because everything has primarily moved to applications. People are seen as disposable, and your next swipe could always be the one. Story 19. It is easy since I gave up on it. Nothing of value was lost. Everyone just wants to use everyone else. Romance is dead. Story 20. I think people want different things. There can be things that you can give in on, but certain things you cannot. I think people have a hard time letting go as well. Years ago, when someone left and moved away, they were just gone. You might get a letter every so often. People's lives and reputations can be destroyed by a jealous or evil person, justly or unjustly. Some people may not want relationships that badly. Some people are emotionally immature. Dating applications compound all the negatives. Can be scary trusting people when there are truly unhinged people out there. Story 21. Absolutely, I have been in long-term relationships or dating almost every year of my life and single the past few years. There has been something marginally different this time around, and I have honestly decided I will be single for a while. Everyone seems to be getting more superficial and focused on what they can get from someone on a date, rather than dating to see what they can experience with someone. It feels a lot less genuine than it did 7 or 8 years ago. Story 22. It seems like more people are chasing Mr. or Ms. Perfect these days. Chase that impossible goal all you want. It does not exist. Story 23. Dating is harder now because people are overwhelmed by options from applications, fear commitment, and ghost too easily. Everyone wants instant perfection. A friend was ghosted after 3 great dates just because she did not use emojis. Story 24. It is less meet, get married, figure it out later, and more take your time and find someone you really click with. Story 25. I am a married, overweight, balding male in his 40s. Girls should not be approaching me. I also own the largest house in a low cost of living area, a farming county, and make over $300,000 annually. It is amazing how many will initiate conversation or invite me to activities once they observe my status. This has been true throughout history. Women seek out a successful man who can provide. This offers them stability and luxury that a poor, handsome man might not be able to provide. I am still in love with my wife. Local girls can dream. Story 26. A lot of people are not looking for a relationship. They want to be admired. I do not think anybody truly wants to like each other, only the potential benefits they get with that person. Story 27. Yes, especially for men. This is largely due to dating applications and social media. Women can use Tinder and immediately receive over 100 matches, all eager to talk to them. Men do not have that option. For this reason, if a man does even the slightest thing she does not like, she can simply move on to the next person. There is a significant imbalance in today's dating market, and men are at a huge disadvantage. Story 28. It honestly depends on your definition of harder. Meeting people to potentially date is easier given the connectivity and abundance of dating applications. However, this online space has commodified people into swipes. It has also created choice overload, where someone keeps swiping or looking because you never know what might be next. I would say dating has not gotten harder, but has definitely undergone a revolutionary change that we are still grappling with. Story 29. 90% of women mistakenly believe they can be with and deserve to be with a man in the top 10% of attractive men. Story 30. Personally, my dating prospects have always been tied to the state of the economy and not to intrinsic factors. Story 31. Social media and unrealistic expectations have ruined our view on dating, especially first dates. I remember when a first date was a simple, casual meeting like having coffee or ice cream. Now, people get upset at places like Cheesecake Factory for a date. Also, with so many options available, people are quicker to end relationships and move on if their partner makes one small mistake or shows a trait they dislike. If someone is toxic, I agree they should leave. Additionally, people are less social now than before, and social media plays a role in this. Story 32. Honestly, I do not even know how people manage it in the first place. I am way too tired to even look for someone. Story 33. I think it's going to become more difficult as time goes by because people like to spend time in spaces where they don't get much pushback. It feels like the level of expectation in a relationship is going to narrow to a fine line of almost all or nothing, where wrong answers mean being cut off just because the answer didn't instantly gratify them the way they have become used to. I would even say that it is a growing narcissistic trend in people. Especially those who spend a good portion of their day on social media are being shaped into thinking that their small online world is the world at large. Do not get me started on people's ability to communicate. I think that has probably sharply declined. Story 34. Yes, and I will probably sound like an incel, but I feel like the reason why I do not seem to catch the attention of many girls my age, and instead attract 50-year-old women, is because of the beauty standards social media has set. Boys around my age are expected to have abs, fluffy curly hair, a perfect jawline, no face fat, white teeth, and so on. I do not know if I will actually get to date a girl my age like I want to because of this. Story 35. We live in a world where everything is simulated and nothing is real. We do not make connections. We just endlessly scroll trying to find more dopamine. We do not actually experience real things, only the shadow of real things. A hollow facsimile. Story 36. It is shocking how many people attribute hardships in relationships to almost everything except diminishing material conditions and wages not keeping up with living costs. Most millennials and Generation Z will never have enough money to own a home. 60% of families in America live paycheck to paycheck, and people have less disposable income than they have had in decades. Many are tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Instead of blaming hardships on too much social media use, the Generation Z stare, or vague references to the loss of wholesome values, consider the fact that most people are financially struggling, have less free time than ever before, and may never retire. These are massive contributing factors to why people decide not to make time for romantic relationships or start a family. Story 37. I am just enjoying being single. People are friendly and willing to have conversations if you are at a bar alone enjoying a steak and martini. Story 38. Yes, the matter is very difficult to the point that I began to feel it has become impossible. I have been trying to find a suitable girl for dating for more than 8 months. I am looking for a serious relationship, not a fleeting moment, but it has become almost impossible. I do not know the reason, but I think it is because when someone comes out of a failed relationship or experience, regardless of its duration or type, they punish the real person they admire or think that everyone is dishonest, and this is wrong. Story 39. The choices within the dating world are becoming constrained and limited by fewer men every year. Approximately 40% of younger adult males have never approached a woman, even once. In my case, it helps that most men are becoming overweight or obese, further reducing the probability of women being interested in them. This makes it more difficult for most men in the dating world. So, yes, I think the dating arena is becoming more difficult for the average male, but it gets easier for me because of their choices. Story 40. I suppose so. I have yet to really try. It is no harm and no foul, so to speak, when someone says no. If you do not match what someone else wants, all good. Keep looking. I am 60 meters and a Christian, so there is a double whammy. I think of Cyrano de Bergerac, who would be honorable for who he is and not bend to what others would want him to be or become. Story 41. Absolutely, it could be as simple as people not having what they need to maintain a healthy relationship because of outside factors such as resources, time, the economy, family, and living arrangements. Story 42. For me, it has always been hard. I grew up in a community where women liked bullies the most, which is personally my biggest discomfort and not worthy of jail time. Even I understand someone's reasons for liking bullies. They are usually harmful. It usually comes down to, I am insecure. I lack integrity. I do not care about other people being hurt. I witnessed it, but it did not register as bullying because my values are poor. Story 43. The days of traditional dating are over. Men are afraid to pursue women they know in person because they fear being viewed as a creep. Online dating makes it too easy to avoid any in-person flirting. Why take a risk when you can scroll on dating apps instead? Money is a problem too. Young people are too broke to go out as much as previous generations. I can't afford more than 1 or 2 dates a month, which leads me to hesitate before asking someone out when I normally would. Story 44. Too many people have unrealistic expectations. Social media and dating applications have also made it harder. People feel it is easy to replace someone because of social media and applications, so they give up easily on relationships. Additionally, people are too hyper-focused on superficial things, such as what a person can do for them or how good or attractive someone looks. Those types of relationships almost never last. Character and personality are just as important. Story 45. Yes, many factors influence this, the biggest being the economy, technology, and social media. Back in the early 2000s, you could work at Blockbuster, be average-looking, and still attract girls and get married. Nowadays, a girl's dream man is strong, physically fit, with six-pack abs, 6 feet tall, and earning 6 figures. Of course, this is not true for every girl, but the standards have risen for many of them. In the early 2000s, you were not rejected for having a bad dating profile or few social media followers. Things were more affordable and women were more likely to connect with you. Women would sit with a nervous guy throughout the date, listen to him, and decide if they wanted to continue. Nowadays, they have the option to check their phone and find someone else because his nervousness is seen as unattractive. Story 46. No. Every generation has had its unique dating challenges. Now, people do not need to settle down in a romantic relationship as much for economic stability or to fight social stigma. People are rightfully more selective, and many who would have had a default partner 30 years ago are struggling to keep up with changes in expectations. Another factor is that many are experiencing a form of delayed adolescence due to various factors inhibiting them from choosing the most compatible partners. If someone wants to settle down, is aware of the most compatible fit for them, and puts themselves out there, they will find it, in my opinion. Story 47. No, it's much easier. Shockingly easier, profoundly easier. Dating is the easiest it has ever been in the history of humanity. The people who say dating is harder now are those who have never dated before. I am old enough to have dated before online dating and also to have used online dating. Online dating is 1000% better. It's incredible how much better it is. If you can't talk to people or make a connection, maybe look in the mirror rather than blaming everyone else. Story 48. Dating applications only exist now to exploit men. Dancing classes have no single participants. Bars and clubs close one after another. Story 49. A person can betray you with your best friend in your bed while stealing your money to spoil them, and if you hit anyone, you are immediately considered the bad person. Story 50. I was recently deceived online by a man who lived in the city, while I lived on the outskirts. He sent me photos and videos of himself, but they did not match the profile he posted, including height, weight, and age. I confronted him about it, and he ended up deleting his account or blocking me. This past month, I encountered the real man whose identity the deceiver was using. He works at the gym I attend. I had never seen him until recently. I have been unsure whether to tell the gym staff or not. The photos were not just stock images. They were from family events, birthday parties, and videos. It is a strange feeling to realize I know someone I actually do not know. Online deception has made it very difficult to trust people. I decided to delete my online profiles and learn a lesson from this experience. It is a strange world. Story 51. Yes, artificial intelligence is ruining dating even more than the apps. As soon as you make a mistake, it tells the other person to leave. Story 52. Dating is definitely breaking down. The root cause is the repeated attacks on gender roles, which people seem to be interpreting as, I get to shed any expectations for me, and anyone suggesting I should be expected to do anything is toxic. You see people complaining they don't find a partner with traditional gender roles, which is what they want, then immediately bristle at the idea that they would have expectations of themselves. Many people have learned the idea that they need to provide nothing while having outsized expectations for what they will receive in return. If you are a man, get a good job, get in good shape, and start putting together and executing a plan for an amazing life. You will find partners easily. If you are a woman and love the idea of children and being a mother, teaching them to grow, you will have no issue finding partners. Those who just want to keep score are the ones who struggle. Story 53. Once you turn 18, the pool of potential compatible mates shrinks continuously over time. Then, around 60, it slowly starts to increase again. Story 54. I do not even bother with it. I am not convinced I am of any use to anyone, and to be honest, I think I would rather just die alone than waste my life trying to be someone I am not. Story 55. Yes, I think it is because people are scared or lack the confidence to talk to others due to the fear of rejection. Speaking from experience. Hence why I am single. Story 56. Yes, because of inflation and ideological clashes. People are no longer dating for love, only lust. Money, or rather the lack of it, is making it impossible to start a family. Story 57. Dating is getting harder because nowadays it seems like nobody cares about relationships anymore. All I see around is everyone just messing around. And it is sad. It is a sad world we are living in. Story 58. What dating? I am 35. My last date was in 2014. 3 weeks ago, I went out with someone who told me in the middle of the evening that she is married. I thought the evening was just a friendly time of having a beer and a chat with someone I got to know recently. Nothing more. Shortly after, her husband showed up, furiously shouting at her. Some drunk people who heard his shouting toward her and me thought I tried to pursue a married woman. So they decided to attack me and beat me badly. Now I can't walk for 2 weeks and will most likely have to wait another 2 to 3 weeks until I might be able to walk properly again. Keep in mind that she basically pursued me for weeks, and I always said no because I already felt something was wrong with her. Imagine the only person in your whole life who makes you feel attractive only wants to betray her husband and ends up crippling you for over a month. Because of dating apps and similar platforms, I literally never get the chance to talk to anyone. They'd rather call security to have me thrown out. I am a normal person, not creepy whatsoever. I don't know what I have done to deserve this. Meanwhile, all my friends get married happily and become parents. Story 59. Dating is not necessarily harder. There are different preferences for different people, but many are raising or lowering their standards significantly. Some women believe they are worth more simply because they are women. They remain single, being pursued by wealthier men, calling it high status. But ultimately, looks fade, and they wonder, where have the good men gone? These women are often attracted to men they can manipulate. On the other hand, some men have preferences that are the complete opposite, but times have changed. Traditional parenting is less common. The current generation raises children differently. Single mothers are more prevalent, and traditional values are less emphasized. Women are not taught how to embody femininity, men are not taught how to embody masculinity, and neither group is taught how to relate to each other properly. Efforts to address this often result in backlash from feminist and liberal groups. Influencers shape the younger generation now, and this influence can be problematic. Dating should involve a man courting a woman. A man seeks to build a family and leave a legacy. A man needs a woman to care for the home and children. The man works to support the family. Women generally want men to provide, and they often do nowadays, but some women refuse to offer anything the man desires. This is sometimes perceived as oppression. The liberal dating model often involves casual relationships with little structure, focusing on emotions without effective leadership or commitment. Story 60. Not for me. I have been actively dating on and off for about 15 years now. If anything, I am having a much better time than ever. Story 61. Yes, but only for men. I feel like women are a lot pickier now because they have inflated egos from social media. A below-average woman will go on dating apps and receive hundreds of compliments from men, even very attractive ones. She sleeps with one attractive man and thinks that is her worth. Story 62. I am not single and I hope I never have to be. The dating world is difficult. I think it has gotten worse with access to social media, and being sneaky is almost more acceptable. Well, maybe not acceptable, but almost expected, so people are not as surprised. I think people just do not have respect for relationships like they used to. Story 63. Well, going on a date with my wife is very easy. She loves it and we do not do it often enough. Good reminder. Story 64. Dating as a man now often means being one of those men you see in Instagram Reels or TikTok videos doing foolish Gen Z activities with their girlfriend while she is gaining attention. Story 65. Dating is becoming more challenging because women in the West have achieved gender equality with most men. Unfortunately, they have ended up with the boys' club or patriarchy they once opposed, which now seems to dominate their time. Meanwhile, many women bring little to the table, especially past the age of 30. This is not about having jobs or financial independence, but rather about the unrealistic expectations seen on dating apps. Common requests from men include, make me laugh, being outdoorsy, which often means drinking wine or Chardonnay every weekend, or being significantly taller, with a minimum height difference of about 4 to 5 inches. Men would be fortunate to find a decent-looking woman over 30 who has a healthy sex drive and avoid marrying into a dead bedroom situation these days. Story 66. The illusion of surplus and selfishness. People would rather hunt for the perfect person from day one than work with someone to help them grow completely. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.